Most people tell small lies every now and then. That is just human nature. We say we are fine when we are not. We say the food tastes great when it is just okay. Those kinds of social lies, most people understand, and most people forgive without much thought. But there is a completely different category of person out there, and if you have ever lived with one, worked with one, or been close to one, you already know exactly what I am talking about. I am talking about people who lie about things that do not even need to be lied about. Small, unnecessary, pointless lies. And for someone like me, that specific behavior is genuinely one of the hardest things to be around. Today I want to talk about two things that are connected in my experience. The first is pathological lying, what it actually is, why some people do it, and what it feels like to be around it. The second is being an INFJ, which is a personality type that makes deception feel almost physically uncomfortable to be near. I will explain what INFJ means if you are not familiar with it. And I also want to talk about something else that bothers me almost as much as lying, which is people who constantly comment on other people's relationship choices. The ones who tell you to get married, then criticize who you choose, then question why you are still single, then judge you for being happy alone. I think these things are connected, and I want to explain why. Let us start with what a pathological liar actually is, because it is a term people use loosely, and it is worth understanding correctly. A pathological liar is not just someone who lies frequently. The word pathological means it is a pattern, something compulsive, something the person does even when there is no clear benefit to lying, and sometimes even when the truth would have been easier. Psychologists describe pathological lying, sometimes called pseudologia fantastica, as a behavior where a person tells lies habitually, often spontaneously, and frequently about things that seem completely unimportant. They may lie to make themselves look better. They may lie to avoid embarrassment over very small things. They may lie simply because the habit is so deeply ingrained that honesty does not come naturally anymore. Some researchers believe this behavior is linked to certain personality disorders, low self-esteem, anxiety, or a need for control over how others perceive them. Others suggest it can develop in people who grew up in environments where honesty was not safe, where telling the truth led to punishment or rejection, so lying became a survival skill that never got switched off. The tricky thing about pathological liars is that they are often very convincing. They can tell a lie with complete calm and confidence. They do not always show the nervous signals most people associate with dishonesty. And when you catch them in a lie, they may double down, shift the story, or act confused in a way that makes you question your own memory. This is called gaslighting, which means making someone doubt their own perception of reality, and it is one of the most exhausting things to experience repeatedly. Now here is where my personality type comes in, because I think it explains a lot about why I find this particular behavior so difficult to tolerate. INFJ is one of 16 personality types identified through a framework called the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, often shortened to MBTI. The letters stand for introversion, intuition, feeling, and judging. INFJs are considered one of the rarest personality types, making up a small percentage of the general population. People who identify as INFJ tend to be deeply empathetic, highly intuitive, idealistic, and intensely attuned to the emotions and intentions of the people around them. They often pick up on things that are not said out loud. They notice small inconsistencies. They sense when something feels off even before they can logically explain why. This is both a strength and an exhausting burden. For an INFJ, being around dishonesty is not just annoying. It creates a specific kind of internal discomfort that is hard to describe but very real. Because INFJs tend to approach relationships and interactions with genuine openness and good faith, they extend trust and positive intent to people naturally. When that trust is violated, especially repeatedly and over small things that did not even require a lie, it feels like a fundamental betrayal of the connection they were trying to build. It is not just about the lie itself. It is about what the lie reveals about the person's character and their willingness to respect you enough to be honest. INFJs also have what many describe as a built-in lie detector. It is not magic. It is pattern recognition combined with emotional sensitivity. When someone's words do not match their energy, their body language, or the logical sequence of events, an INFJ notices. They may not immediately name it. They may give the benefit of the doubt, sometimes too many times. But eventually, the accumulation of small inconsistencies builds into an undeniable picture. And once an INFJ reaches that conclusion about a person, it is very difficult to go back to trusting them the way they once did. This is why pathological liars are particularly draining for people with this personality type. It is not that INFJs expect perfection. It is that they value authenticity above almost everything else in their relationships. A person who lies about small, unnecessary things signals to an INFJ that this is someone who is not safe to be fully open with. And for a personality type that lives for deep, genuine connection, that is a serious problem. Now, let me talk about the other type of person I mentioned, the ones who police other people's relationship choices, because I think the underlying psychology is actually very similar. You probably know someone like this. Maybe multiple people like this. They're the ones who, when you're single, ask you constantly when you are getting married. When you are in a relationship, they have opinions about whether your partner is good enough, whether you are moving too fast or too slow, whether your choices align with what they think your life should look like. If you choose to stay single, they treat it as a problem to be solved or a phase you will grow out of. If you choose not to have children, they act as if you have made a tragic mistake. If you are happy with your life as it is, they seem almost offended by your contentment. What is actually happening with these people psychologically is interesting. Very often, the ones who most aggressively comment on other people's choices are the ones who are most uncertain about their own. When someone is genuinely secure and satisfied with the decisions they have made for their own life, they tend not to feel the need to evaluate or judge the decisions of others. It is the people who carry unresolved doubts about their own paths who find it most threatening when someone else takes a different one and seems okay. Your happiness without a partner, or your contentment without children, or your peace as a solo person becomes an uncomfortable mirror for someone who is quietly questioning whether their own choices were right. There is also a cultural layer to this, especially in the Philippines. There is enormous social pressure here to follow a very specific life script. You finish school, you get a stable job, you find a partner, you get married, you have children, and you take care of your parents in their old age. Anyone who deviates from that script for any reason tends to attract commentary. And most of that commentary is not genuinely concerned with your well-being. It is about the discomfort your different choices create in people who have never questioned the script themselves. For an INFJ, this kind of unsolicited evaluation of their personal life is particularly grating for a reason that connects back to the lying conversation. Both behaviors, the pathological liar and the relationship commentator, share a common thread. They both involve a person prioritizing their own comfort, their own narrative, their own image, over genuine respect for you as an individual. The liar chooses the version of the truth that serves them. The relationship commentator imposes the version of your life that makes them more comfortable. Neither of them is truly seeing you. Neither of them is truly respecting your right to exist on your own terms. What I have learned, and what took me longer than I would like to admit, is that you cannot change either type of person through argument, confrontation, or trying harder to explain yourself. Pathological liars who have not sought help will continue to lie. People who need to control other people's choices through commentary will continue to comment. The only real protection is distance, clear boundaries, and the willingness to stop explaining yourself to people who were never genuinely listening in the first place. For an INFJ, learning to stop over-explaining is one of the most important personal growth milestones there is. We tend to believe that if we just communicate clearly enough, if we just help the other person understand our perspective thoroughly enough, they will have a genuine change of heart. Sometimes that is true, but with pathological liars and with people who are fundamentally disrespectful of your autonomy, it rarely is. Some people are not confused about you. They simply do not prioritize your truth or your choices, and no amount of explanation will change that. The healthiest thing an INFJ can do, and honestly the healthiest thing anyone can do in these situations, is to redirect the energy they were spending on those dynamics back toward themselves, toward the people who are actually honest, toward the relationships that are actually reciprocal, toward the life they are actually building, quietly and on their own terms, without needing anyone's approval to make it valid. Your life does not require their commentary to be real. Your choices do not require their understanding to be right for you. And your peace does not require their permission to exist. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, subscribe to help me hit my 2,000 video goal. This is my unfiltered diary of solo living in the Philippines, from the tough days in the ESL classroom to my journey learning Japanese and Korean. Yes, I am still a beginner. If you'd like to support my work and my retirement fund, check out the Buy a Treat for My Pets link in the description. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss the next update. Thanks for being part of the journey.
See you then.